Hey folks, today I'm at the Tamron Standard CP Plus in Yokohama, Japan, and I've got along the new 90mm macro lens to test out here. This is an update of their recent generation. It's now the third of their 90mm macros that I'm testing out. Let's have a look. Hey folks, jump on over to Granger.com and sign up to the mailing list and you'll get a free copy of my guide to improving your portraiture. In this guide I take you through all kinds of different things, including equipment, working with models, working with different creatives, how to frame up your shot, different settings you might want to consider to take your portraiture to the next level. Sign up and it's yours today. Okay, so the 90mm macro, like I said, they've had a 90mm in the range for quite a while. They updated it maybe 3 or 4 years ago and then have just updated it again with this revision. Optically, it's very similar to what they had before. It's got some new coatings, including the fluorine on the front, which is the same as the 15 to 30 has, which performs really, really well. But it's also got some tweaks. The VC has been improved. It's now got XY stabilization as well. Apparently there's very, very few lenses out there that have that stabilization. And it's also got dust resistance now. The original had moisture resistance. This one now has dust as well. So let's go in close and I'll run through the full specs on it for you. So taking a look at this guy, it's a maximum aperture of f2.8. You find a lot of macro lenses are really popular with portrait photographers as well. They tend to be crazy sharp. So fast maximum aperture, 2.8 is pretty common for a macro lens. Then it'll stop all the way down to f32, which if you're shooting macros up really close, you're going to want. Now, new on this one are all the coatings. We're looking at 1 LD, 2 XLD glass elements, and then it's got, I love this, the B-bar and E-band coatings, as well as fluorine coating. So ghosting, flare, and moisture repelling as well. So it's got their new USD AF motor. It's got a full-time manual focus override here, VC on and off, and then you've got your focus range. And surprisingly, it actually has 3 steps rather than what's common to have the 2. Inside, it's got a 9-blade rounded diaphragm. And as I said, it's now a moisture and dust resistant, not just moisture, which is handy. Something like this is something that I would consider taking to the Amazon when I go later this year in Peru. So moisture and dust are both big issues. So let's throw it on the camera and see how it does. So first off, this has the SP, the new series of finish. If you haven't seen them, the 35 and 45 were announced about 6 months ago. I had a little play with them at Photo Plus in New York. It's got a completely new finishing on the camera. On the lens. It's a much more refined kind of a lens from them. They're obviously marking these out, the new primes, as being a new family and kind of putting their stamp on it. Now, something I've mentioned several times before, but you'll often see macro thrown onto lenses and it's kind of meaningless. It just means that it lets you focus kind of close. A true macro lens lets you get one-to-one reproduction. So if something's a centimeter in real life, it'll be reproduced as a centimeter on your sensor. And of course, then you can blow that up huge, so you just get oodles of detail. This one is a true one-to-one macro. So that means despite being a 90mm lens, you can focus down to 30 centimeters. So where are we? Right there. Because you've got to keep in mind when we talk about 30 centimeters, it's not 30 centimeters from your front element, it's from your focal plane, which is designated with the circle with the line through it on the camera. So it's 30 centimeters from there, you're able to focus. So I'm sure that's enough detail that people would be able to commit some kind of international crime with my fingerprint. Let's take this one and test out the VC and also see just how it does with a couple of headshots. Well, I've got to say the focus is surprisingly snappy going from point to point. No hunting at all. Let's do a little test to see what I can handhold this bad guy. Let's jump into shutter priority. Start out at 100. $15th, 10th. I think an 8th is plenty. Pretty good. At an eighth of a second to still be getting sharp shots on a 90mm lens. Obviously it's doing something right. And that's something you really got to think about with the ultra resolution sensors that a lot of cameras have today now. You're not just, people are actually getting them to then be able to crop into. It's probably actually a good topic for a future video on how to get the best out of this kind of a lens. Let's have a look at some headshots. Let's find some really fine detail here to focus in on. So originally when I saw this lens, I was a bit torn thinking, well, it's the same optical design just with some tweaks. But now that I look at it, I think everything has been changed other than the optical design, which may sound like a big, that not much has changed. But other than the styling, it's the brand new VC, and the way that it focuses altogether has changed, and all of the coatings, which overall has a big impact. Definitely this is a big improvement over the previous 90mm. I tell you what, if I ever establish a camera or lens company, whenever I have a trade show, I'm going to have the world's best lighting expert come in and set up beautiful soft boxes of daylight, white balance lights. The shows, they just never fantastic lighting setup. So here I'm using the D4. Still, if you really wanted to put a lens through its paces, you wouldn't want to be shooting at high ISO. But overall, I think this is looking good. I'm not a huge macro guy, but as I said, when I'm doing travel stuff, having the flexibility of a portrait-ish length lens that will also do it for close-up work, like details of trees, fauna, bugs and stuff in the Amazon or in Africa, although I don't know I want to get too close to the wildlife in Africa to be using a macro lens, then it's something that I think could be of use. I'll look forward to getting my hands on this to do a bit of outdoor testing with. For now, I'll just get a few more test shots here. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Hey folks, if you want to make money from your photography, check out my Business of Photography course. Everything you need to strategically set up your business, to find customers, and successfully start selling your photographic products.